Constellation Starship Frontier, we have you on scanners.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Skypothesis.
Yeah, we're kind of breaking our formula for this, and this is kind of a podcast format, but we really wanted to talk about Starfield.
We are so excited for this and can't believe that Bethesda finally dropped this trailer. So today we're just going to walk through a little bit about our thoughts about this game, the trailer, and upcoming Bethesda projects, and what this means for us, the content we want to make, and stuff like that for our channel.
Yeah, we're also going to talk about our wish list for the game. We have 3 things that we really hope are included in Starfield. However, we're not going to do like a deep dive into all the little details of the trailer. I think Camelworks has already made a video on that, so this is more just our thoughts, what we hope Starfield will be like, and we'd like to hear what you all think as well. Let us know let us know in the comments.
And yeah, thanks so much for watching this. And if you stick around for the whole video, be sure to give it a like and drop some comments in there. We really love hearing from you guys, seriously. It's like a huge highlight to hear your ideas for our Skyrim builds and stuff like that. So thank you so much for your support. But without any further ado, we are going to hop right into this. So Starfield, it's been crazy. Everybody's super, super excited, including us. So the first thing that we really want to talk about is what type of sci-fi Starfield is going to be and what that means to us.
Yeah, so Starfield is already breaking a lot of Bethesda's traditions with the release being so far away and everything. They're announcing it a whole year in advance than they normally announce their games. And also it's their first non-Fallout or Elder Scrolls IP in existence, like ever. And
Yeah.
Todd's explained that it's a passion project for him, and I'd imagine that like after so many decades of working on the same IPs, it's been probably fun to work on something else. But yeah, so with sci-fis, this looks very different. We were talking about all of the other sci-fi games we can think of, and there isn't a whole lot out there that looks to have the same tone as Starfield. So like in sci-fi, they can essentially be broken up into 2 camps, and this goes for all sci-fi: literature, movies, games, whatever. There's more grounded sci-fi, and then on the other end of the spectrum are the fantastical sci-fi. So think like on the grounded sci-fi, what I mean by that is like where the science is understandable and explained and very believable. Like you don't need to suspend your disbelief as much.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of the things that come to mind when we think about this are like Ender's Game and Dune, which are really huge sci-fi novels in the sci-fi space. If you are a fan of sci-fi, most likely you have heard of them, if not even read both of them. And the reason they fall into the grounded camp is because, like Tyler said, all of the science seems plausible. It seems feasible. It seems like it could be real. And then on the other hand, we've got fantastical sci-fi, things like Star Wars with the Force and lightsabers and the Jedi, and then like Guardians of the Galaxy, even in Marvel. It's just wild. It's crazy. While those are 2 totally different movie franchises in tone and story and everything, they definitely both fall into the camp of fantastical sci-fi. So what we've noticed is that Starfield totally takes the grounded sci-fi approach, similar to Ender's Game and Dune, and we're really excited for that.
Yeah, like what we've seen so far in general tone, like if you look at that ship, what he's wearing, there's a half-eaten sandwich, there's a little note on the display that says please no magnets on the display. Like it seems like science that is very believable. But even like in Star Wars, Star Wars versus Ender's Game, like you've got how they handle gravity. Like in Ender's Game, they go up into that space station and it's a big wheel that's spinning so that the centripetal force creates an artificial gravity. Star Wars, they like flip a switch and the ship has gravity. And that's fine because you can just suspend your disbelief. You don't need to have that explained in a fantastical sci-fi. Like, and honestly, I tend to prefer that. I don't know about you.
No, yeah. It's a lot easier. To me, grounded sci-fi in novels, it's a little hard to chew, but
they just tend to be a little tedious.
Yeah.
But like I don't think we've ever had this sort of a game before. Like
No, yeah.
I have no idea how this is going to translate in a game like this. So because I mean, there have been games based on like a realistic picture of what space travel would look like in a near future setting, but not on this scope. Not like a AAA studio with a huge budget making a huge open world game. We haven't really had anything like this before, so it'll be new territory.
So we're super excited for that. It might feel more like literature sci-fi and less like video game sci-fi from everything that we've experienced from those AAA studios.
I mean, even the promotional art, like the logo of Constellation and like that painting, that looks like cover art for a sci-fi novel straight out of the 70s.
It totally does.
Like this is going to have a different vibe, so I'm cautiously optimistic.
I'm all here for it. I'm honestly really excited. So EUROGAMER came out with an article recently. It's super interesting. We'll put a link in the description.
It's like 2 paragraphs, but these days that gets the clicks.
It's the clicks. So hats off to EUROGAMER.
Yeah. They said Starfield is described by the Bethesda devs to be like a Han Solo simulator, or NASA meets Indiana Jones. So that's kind of cool. That's very vague. That like could mean anything.
Yeah.
But that's their job, to generate hype, right? Like that's exciting.
I read that. I imagine being like a Han Solo and like taking your rig through places and doing jobs and stuff, or being like an Indiana Jones. I guess, I mean, maybe they're just hyping up Harrison Ford because he's both of those guys. But I don't know. I'm just imagining something like that up in space. And it's interesting that they said NASA, because that kind of ties it back to the grounded sci-fi and what we saw in the trailer. So I think that's pretty cool, but it looks really fun.
Yeah, like I'm just thinking about all the little things that you see in the trailer, like the pens, the little flight manual. It all just seems very real. Like these things could exist in our world, and that's I don't know. It's different because I'm thinking about the fantastical sci-fis in the world of gaming that like at least I've played or I'm familiar with, like the Mass Effects, the Halos, the Warframes. They're all super fantastical, very much firmly in the other camp. But this doesn't seem to be the case, so that's exciting.
We're super stoked for it. So we're thinking in terms of roleplay, of course, because that's kind of our thing. That's our favorite way to play these open world RPGs. Skyrim, Fallout. Heck, we've even tried to roleplay, I don't know, like Borderlands 2 and stuff.
Yeah.
Like we
roleplay hard.
We love it. And I think it's because, like a lot of you, especially a lot of our subscribers and hearing your comments, you love what the roleplay can bring to the table in these games. So we're thinking about this grounded fantasy that could be Starfield and what this means for the roleplay.
Yeah. We have a kind of a funny history.
We have a history with like, sci-fi roleplay.
If this is your first video, we are brothers. We grew up in the 90s, and we would like roleplay like our Lego armies.
Dude, it was insane.
Remember the 90s Legos? They were all sci-fi. There was the aliens, there was the insectoids, the UFOs.
The Rock Raiders.
Yes, the Rock Raiders.
Life on Mars sets.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So we would have wars over resources. We
were these kids having resource wars with our Legos. We would build mines into like shelves in our basement and stuff. And anyway, long story short, we have a lot of fond memories of space roleplay, of sci-fi worlds coming to life in our minds, and just having the freedom to do whatever.
There hasn't really been any video games like this before that you really can roleplay like this. I mean, there's been tabletop art, there's been tabletop games, and there's sci-fi stuff out there, but not to this extent. If Bethesda sticks to their formula, it'll really be the first of its kind, I think. And I hope they do. I hope we don't get another Cyberpunk and pull a 180 on us.
Oof. And the Outer Worlds. I mean, say what you want. I've heard a lot of people say positive things about the Outer Worlds. We do think that Starfield will be very different from it, and we're really excited. And we generally do prefer fantasy. We love fantasy. We're actually both working on fantasy novels right now, which we may talk about later, I'm not sure. But we love fantasy, but we have found that genre doesn't matter to us so long as the game is good.
Yeah, this is pretty much just a podcast now. We should start a podcast.
Yeah, the Sky Podcast.
The Sky Podcast. Okay, there we go. Okay,
Nice.
Stay tuned for the Sky Podcast. So for Starfield, there are 3 main things that we hope are in the game. And that's kind of the whole point of why we made this video, but we're several minutes into it now. A while into it.
Yeah.
So the first thing that we really hope is in the game. These are all things that Bethesda has proven to be good at. And the first is blank canvas characters. I mean, what we love about these games is they are a platform to tell your own story. They are a game board like a tabletop RPG. They are the setting, the tools for you to use and tell your own story. And that's what makes them great. That's why we love these games and not necessarily other popular RPGs in the same genre, because these are blank canvases for you to tell your own story. And we hope that stays the same in Starfield.
Exactly, and that's the reason that we love Skyrim so much, and that's the reason that we have made so many roleplay builds for them so far, is because it is a blank canvas and you can do whatever. And we contrast that a little bit to Fallout 4, which is also a fantastic game. We're planning on making content for it as well. But you are a set character.
Yeah, you play as Nate or Nora, and you have some fixed things about your story that you can't change, and it's kind of unfortunate. I personally tend to be more forgiving of Fallout 4 because I really like the game, but I totally understand the criticisms of the character creation. Yeah.
So that's the first thing that we're really, really hoping for. Number 1 on our wish list is blank canvas characters. And that's for obvious reasons. So moving into number 2, the second thing that we really, really want is real consequences in the quests. You do this during a quest, you kill this person, and it messes with everything else. We think that's awesome. In Oblivion, it was really cool how they handled it. If you killed an important person in the quest, then the game would tell you, hey, you just killed somebody and actually broke the quest. You can't beat the game anymore. Do you want to continue or reload a save? And you're like, oh, yeah, I want to reload a save. Or maybe that's your character. Maybe that's your character's purpose in the roleplay. So of course you continue. That's one gripe that we actually have with Skyrim is all the essential characters. We really wish we could kill Delphine, and we just can't.
Yeah.
But
and Bethesda's trend has been heading in the direction of more just sandboxy gameplay and exploration and less classic RPG quest heavy, which is just kind of a choice of theirs, but we hope that they bring it back for this.
Yeah,
but I'm this one, number 2, I'm not holding my breath for. And Fallout 4, I think, had better RPG decisions than people give it credit for. There's a lot of ways that it could be improved, but the choices you make really significantly impact the world, and that matters. You can't say that about most of the other RPGs made. So, yeah, we hope that there's meaningful consequence.
yeah, for sure. And then the third thing, the last thing on our wish list, something that we really, really want for Starfield is really meaningful interaction with the world. We kind of have this belief that a game is only as good as the player's ability to interact with the world in a meaningful way.
Yeah, and essentially that's immersion. That's what is the barrier between the player and the game world? How close is that barrier? And how in the world do you feel? And even things as simple as being able to pick up a can of food and move it around and check it out and put it somewhere else, put it on the shelf, you can do that. Fallout 4 is probably one of the best examples of this. You can manipulate the world in a meaningful way. And other RPGs, like I'm going to use Witcher 3 as an example. I love The Witcher 3. I played it. I played all the DLCs and I had a great time. But I'm probably not going to go back to it anytime soon because it's going to be the same experience. And at the end of the day, you are Geralt and you can't interact with the world in a way that I wanted to. You can't explore the city and sneak into places and like pick things up and look at them and I don't know, you just can't. There's a huge barrier between myself and that world because I have to experience it as Geralt. And it's a beautiful world. I love it. You can get lost in it, but it's also very one-dimensional.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there's not a whole lot there besides just what you're looking at. And so I hope that Bethesda keeps the interaction with the world.
Agreed. And that's not to say that, of course, you mentioned multiple times how much you love The Witcher and how much of a fantastic game it is.
Yeah.
I think the same thing about like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, one of the best open world games ever. I love it. Mm-hmm. But in terms of like role play, outside of just being Link, being the hero of time, that's it. And it's a fantastic story. We love it, but we are hoping for more in Starfield specifically. Mm-hmm. With that blank character canvas, consequences in quest, and meaningful interaction with the world. If those three things exist in this game, it's going to be incredible. So We're super excited to find out.
Yeah, and like we said earlier, it's way too early to tell. Mm-hmm. This game could turn into anything. It's so easy to get hyped up for stuff that's so far away. I mean, look at what happened with Cyberpunk.
Oh, yeah.
The community, we all had improper expectations for what that game would be, and it ended up being very different than what at least us hardcore role players wanted it to be. And so we hope that doesn't happen, and so we're all trying to tamper our expectations unsuccessfully. But yeah, as long as things continue to look like it'll be a good role-playing game, we'll continue to make content for it. It's far away, but we'll keep speculating and hopefully make builds for it when it's released.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got about a year and a half until then, so we're definitely going to continue doing what we're doing right now. Maybe some new stuff sprinkled in. But we are very, very excited for what this game could bring to the roleplay community as a whole. Mm-hmm. And we're super excited. So if you guys are as hyped as we are, if you guys have some similar expectations, please let us know in the comments. And what are you most excited for? We've talked about kind of our wish list. We want to hear your wish list. We love reading your comments. We try to respond to all of them. It's getting a little bit harder now that we're getting a little bit bigger. We're almost at 3,000 right now, which is pretty sweet. But please let us know, and we definitely read through every comment.
Yeah, it's been really fun, you guys, because we really didn't have any expectations for our channel other than just making a place to put our builds as like a digital library, because we've been kind of collecting our favorite characters and experiences over the past decade.
Mm-hmm.
And,
oh my gosh, yeah.
And I don't know, the fact that you all found us somehow has been really fun, and so it's been fun talking to you. So let us know what you think about Starfield, what you're hoping it will be, and let us know what you think.
Yeah, and the thing I think that maybe we're most excited for is Bethesda said that Elder Scrolls 6 will come after Starfield. So now Starfield is coming. That means Elder Scrolls 6 is coming. Maybe 2025 or 2026. I'm going to be freaking old, but you know what? It's going to be a good time. So thanks so much for listening to this video. Felt kind of like a podcast. This was honestly pretty fun to record.
If you've made it this far, thanks for listening through the first unofficial episode of Sky Podcast.
Sky Podcast, yes. Yep. Okay, and if you want more content like this, seriously, let us know. We love talking about roleplay. We love talking about Bethesda games and other stuff as well. So just keep us posted. We have another build coming this Friday. Of course, we're right in the middle of Season 4. So thanks so much for you guys' support and everything. And yeah, I think we're pretty much done.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Okay, awesome, guys. See you next time right here on Skypothesis.
Woo!